I was very fortunate to be able to kick it with Joe Mixon this off season, and even more fortunate to be able to bring my video camera and film one of his personal workouts. We're going to take a look ahead to the 2018 season, what's going on with the Bengals, and take a jab at what's going to happen with Joe Mixon, maybe do some predictions. You're watching the Joe Mixon special. What's going on, fantasy football fans? I'm your host, Hussein the Brain, and you're watching The Couch. If it's your first time on this channel and you're a fan of the NFL, you're a fan of improving your fantasy football team, then I highly suggest you subscribe and hit that bell icon so you won't miss anything. So what happened was my buddy Scott, who follows all the Bengals players, is a huge Bengals fan, saw that Joe Mixon posted something on his Instagram. He posted an Instagram story asking for videographers in Northern California. He was like, hey man, you should do this. You're a videographer. You do great videos. I was like, all right. I mean, I'll respond. I'm a fan of Joe Mixon. Of course, it'd be awesome to film him. I'll reply, and you know, I doubt he's gonna even respond back to me. I'd say I have like about a 0.2% chance that he'll say yes, and I'll be able to film him. Well, a couple days passed, and he actually replied, and he was like, yeah, man, come out, film one of my workouts. Like, I want to post some stuff, so come do it. So I was like, wow, this is actually happening. So I went over and I filmed one of his workouts. It was amazing. It was amazing as a fan to see a player up close and get to see one of their workouts, and I got some pretty good footage. I'll show you guys some of that footage at the end of the video, but first, let's take a look at the Bengals and what happened to them in 2017. Believe it or not, statistically, especially fantasy-wise, because fantasy is all based on stats, the quarterback, it gets better with a better offensive line. Of course, it's very important, but statistically, a quarterback could still be pretty good without a good O-line. It's kind of the opposite with a running back. If you don't have a lot of opportunities to get touchdowns, and if your O-line is horrible, it's very, very difficult for a running back to do good. And this is one of the main reasons why when we see a backup running back come in to fill in the starting running back shoes, a la, just an example off the top of my head, when Le'Veon Bell wasn't playing and D'Angelo Williams played, he statistically was even better than Le'Veon Bell, absolutely crushed it. So a backup running back can come in and do pretty good. He can do get about 80 to 90% of the stats, about 80 to 90% of the time. But with a quarterback, we see sometimes when a backup quarterback comes in and plays, sometimes it's a disaster. And when it's not, you get a guy like Tom Brady or Kurt Warner. Anyway, I don't want to get sidetracked. I'm not trying to compare quarterbacks and running backs. All I'm saying is that for a running back to be successful, it's going to heavily rely on how good that offensive line is. The Bengals had one of the worst offensive lines last year in 2017. The Cardinals were pretty bad. The Seahawks were pretty bad, and the Bengals, I would say those three are probably the bottom three. Some would say the Bengals would be the absolute worst. And they had a terrible start the first couple games of the season, and they fired the offensive coordinator. They got a little bit better. Eifert got hurt yet again. And I mean, the main focus was, hey man, we got to get this offense on track. We got to get an O-line. Like, this O-line was way worse than we thought it was going to be. I thought last year the O-line would be like, it could be average, like it could be not so bad. I was wrong. It was atrocious. We saw some teams during the offseason and in the draft make it a primary focus to beef up their offensive line and improve in that area. Teams like the Colts, the Giants, even the Lions, and of course, the Bengals. They got the left tackle from the Bills, who's actually hasn't got a high PFF rating, but before this year, he's been very good. So I would say if Cordy Glenn can stay healthy, it's a question mark there, but if he can, he'll be a really good left tackle. The previous left tackle, whatever that guy's name was a bust. So they improved at the left tackle position. At center, they drafted Billy Price, and we were thinking during the draft, the Lions right before them got Ragnow. We're like, okay, that's who they wanted, and the Lions stole the Bengals center that they wanted. But turns out, I mean, reportedly, we don't know 100% for sure, that the Bengals wanted Billy Price. This was the center they wanted because this was a great run blocking center. And doing a little bit more research, Billy Price was top 3 center by almost all the rankings, all the scouts. So he was still a good center. But they got him for run blocking. We see centers improve the run blocking. The best example I can think of off the top of my head, Alex Smith with the Atlanta Falcons. They get him, boom, they have a great running game. So they improve on left tackle, they improve at center. The right side's kind of weak, but maybe a little bit of competition there. The right side can be not as bad. So what are we hoping for? We're hoping the Bengals will have an average offensive line this year. They'll probably have a slightly below average offensive line, but that should be way, way better than in 2017 when they had basically the worst O-line. So the Bengals got their guy in the first round, Billy Price, and funny story, Mike Zimmer of the Vikings supposedly called Marvin Lewis, the head coach of the Bengals, and was like, look, dude, we're going to draft Billy Price as our first pick, but you took him. So I guess that makes the Bengals feel a little bit better about themselves. Now moving on to Joe Mixon's situation. He's slated to be the workhorse running back in 2018 for the Bengals. With Jeremy Hill gone, this may very well happen. He reportedly weighed around 240 pounds last year because of travel or whatever the situations may have been. And now he weighs around 225 to 228. He's supposed to slim down to 220, may already be there. I'm not sure. When I seen him, I mean, he didn't look overweight or anything like that. Fantasy-wise, currently, Joe Mixon is ranked as the 16th best running back, and his ADP in PPR leagues is also the 16th running back taken off the board. Flat out, I'm going to say this is his exact value. I feel like you're not going to get great value for him and you're not going to get bad value for him. This is the guy where, you know, he's drafted RB16, may finish right around RB16. I think he's a guy you don't want to avoid, but you also don't want to reach for too much. I currently have him ranked, I think, RB18, but I'll probably somehow end up moving him to one or two spots up. What's very interesting, though, is that Gio Bernard is currently ranked RB49, which is very low, and he's currently being drafted as the 51st running back taken off the board. That's very late. I mean, guys like Dez Bryant and DeMarco Murray, who don't even have teams, are being drafted. Whenever I do a mock draft, those guys are drafted ahead of Gio Bernard. I'm not high on Gio Bernard, not by any means, but I think you're going to get great value for him, and do not reach for Gio Bernard, but he's going to be slept. This is going to be the definition of a sleeper. And you always think, you know, when people say sleeper, that's going to probably mean like they're going to be amazing. Now, Gio Bernard probably won't be amazing or anything, but as far as the value, a guy you're drafting in round 14, 15, whatever, like you're drafting at the end of the draft, he's going sometimes undrafted or just forgotten about. I mean, for a round 14 running back, you're getting pretty good value. He's also decent handcuff. Not a great handcuff, but a decent one. In a PPR league, he's a great pass catcher. With Gio Bernard, there's plenty of knocks. We've never seen him really be a workhorse. We never really see him get great rush stats. Not good at the goal line situation. Doesn't get a lot of carries within the 10. He is not a goal line back, but he's a pretty good third down back. I do believe Joe Mixon will be the workhorse for the Bengals next year, but how much of a workhorse may not be quite the workhorse as other running backs, maybe not quite like the workload Le'Veon Bell gets or the snap count that, you know, Le'Veon Bell gets, or Todd Gurley or Zeke, not at that level. But I mean, workhorses are hard to come by, and if he's getting 75% of the offensive snaps, that's pretty good. I guess that would count for being a workhorse. My question mark is his conditioning. Nothing to worry about, but we just don't know if he'll be able to handle, let's say, 300 touches or 340 total touches. That's what we love to see in a workhorse. I mean, if the guy's getting close to 300 carries, that would be amazing. And I think he'll get all the goal line carries, or the majority of them. He should be the goal line back for them. We saw Jeremy Hill not put up a lot of rushing yards, not get a lot of rushing yards per attempt, but he did get touchdowns his time in Cincinnati. I like the touchdown upside. I like the usage. I like being used at the goal line. I like all that. But can the guy hold up? Will he get tired? Is he the type of guy to get 20 plus carries in a game? That's what I like to see. And if the Bengals can have the lead for a lot of games, I think Joe Mixon is going to be the guy you want finishing that game off. You know, games where they're really far behind, getting blown out, you might see a lot of Gio Bernard, and Mixon owners are not going to like that. Touchdowns are very difficult to predict, but we're projecting him to be the goal line back and the main running back. So that's a good thing. Thumbs up. Now I want to show you guys some exclusive footage I got of Mr. Mixon. It was freaking amazing. So we're out there working out. He's working out with his dad who played a lot of football back in the day. And it was kind of cool because I think we're warming up and he's seen one of his former quarterbacks. I think it was his former quarterback from high school, and the guy plays college football right now, and you know, it was awesome. So he got the ball and threw some passes to Joe Mixon. He looked like, you know, he can definitely still throw the ball. He's still playing at a high level, so it was pretty cool. I'm gonna show you that footage, and just to let you know, I don't want to give away too much because this was his workout, but man, the guy has some real natural hands, and just looking at him up close, his body type would be the most similar to Alvin Kamara. Not saying that his playing style is like Alvin Kamara, but he's kind of like that. He doesn't look like a running back to me, and he doesn't look like a wide receiver. He looks exactly in between the two. He definitely could play running back, and he definitely could be split out and play wide receiver or catch out from the backfield. And man, the guy has natural hands. So enough of that. Let's look at the footage. Thank you so much for watching the video. Make sure you guys subscribe and hit that bell icon, because if you're just subscribed, you probably won't even get notified when new videos come out, and you guys don't want to miss out on any new videos. Like the video if you liked it, dislike if you didn't like it. Let me know if you want me to do more player profiles and projections, dive deep on one player. If you liked it, let me know and I'll do more of those. See you guys on the next video.